In a genre built on speed, twitch reflexes, and vertical movement, one character moves with the confidence of tectonic plates. He doesn't double jump, he doesn't rocket jump, he doesn't vanish in a puff of invisibility or teleport behind enemy lines.
Been here all along.
He simply walks forward. And when he does, the battlefield reorganizes itself accordingly. The heavy weapons guy is the largest playable class in Team Fortress 2.
I am giant!
With 300 base health, he possesses the highest default health pool in the game.
I am credit to team!
Balanced by the slowest movement speed at 77% of the standard class baseline.
No!
His primary weapon is a minigun that requires spin-up time before firing, rewarding commitment and positioning over just mobility and reactionary play. But Heavy is more than a stat line. He is Mikhail, a Russian mercenary with a shaved head, an ammunition belt slung across his chest, and a weapon he lovingly named
Sasha.
He speaks in deliberate, declarative sentences. He values loyalty, he sends money home to his family, and somewhere between his raw firepower and his unexpected emotional depth, he became the face of Team Fortress 2 itself. But the Heavy didn't begin this way. He didn't begin with personality, or backstory, or internet immortality. He began as a role in a Quake mod. A durable class designed for area denial. A functional answer to a mechanical problem. To understand how the Heavy became an icon, we need to trace his full evolution. From Quake Team Fortress, through Team Fortress Classic, into the stylized reinvention of TF2, and beyond the game itself, into internet culture. Because the Heavy story isn't just about balance changes and weapon unlocks. It's about how multiplayer design, art direction, and community creativity can transform a simple archetype into something and someone enduring. Now, to trace the origins of the Heavy, we need to go back. Further. Bit further. Teeny bit further. Perfect. We need to go back to 1996 in Team Fortress for Quake, a mod developed by Robin Walker and John Cook. In this earliest incarnation, the Heavy's role was already clearly defined. He was the class with the most health and some of the strongest sustained weaponry available. In a game defined by Quake's speed and rocket physics, he stood out precisely because he was not as agile. His strength came from durability and presence. He was built to hold ground, suppress enemy advances, and anchor defensive positions. There was no elaborate characterization attached to him at this stage. He wasn't Russian, he did not monologue about the cost efficiency of ammunition, and he certainly didn't cradle his weapon like a beloved companion. He was mechanical identity distilled to its simplest form. Survivability plus damage output equals area control. Even so, the DNA was already present. High durability, low mobility, devastating sustained fire. The core formula that would define Heavy for decades was already locked in. Then, in 1999, Team Fortress Classic launched as a mod for Half-Life.
Gordon, you lousy motherfucker. Get your dork ass down to the test chamber or else I will shove the sample up your ass.
Bringing the class system into Valve's new engine. The Heavy weapons guy returned with his assault cannon.
Excuse me! I'm in need of medical attention!
A weapon functionally similar to the modern minigun. It required spin up before firing and rewarded players who committed to engagements. Once again, he possessed the highest health pool and the slowest movement speed among the classes. His purpose remained consistent: defensive anchor, damage sponge, frontline suppressor. However, visually and narratively, the Heavy remained grounded in realism. Team Fortress Classic carried a more traditional military aesthetic. Character silhouettes were less exaggerated, personality was minimal.
Medic!
The class was recognizable for its role, not for its voice or individuality. At this stage, the Heavy was respected, but he wasn't beloved. The transformation that would change that was not mechanical, but artistic. During early development, Team Fortress 2 originally pursued a realistic, military style, similar to Team Fortress Classic. This was called Team Fortress Brotherhood of Arms. However, Valve ultimately pivoted towards a 1960s illustration-inspired aesthetic, drawing influence from commercial artists like J.C. Leyendecker. This shift redefined every class in the game. Silhouettes became exaggerated and instantly readable, colors became bold, personalities became theatrical.
Anyway, that's how I lost my medical license.
And for the Heavy, this meant amplification. His proportions were pushed to extremes: massive chest and arms, thick hands, prominent ammunition belt. His silhouette alone communicated strength and weight. He looked immovable, even at rest. Then came the voice, voiced by Gary Schwartz.
I am heavy weapons guy. And this is my weapon.
The Heavy gained a distinctive Russian accent and a vocabulary built around blunt statements and surprising poetic turns.
It costs $400,000 to fire this weapon for 12 seconds.
That single line encapsulated him: practical, absurd, confident, and oddly reflective. Valve hadn't just designed a tank class, they had designed a character. And in doing so, they ensured that the Heavy would be remembered not just for how he played, but for who he was.
I've yet to meet one that can outsmart a bullet.
When Team Fortress 2 launched in 2007, the Heavy entered a multiplayer ecosystem built entirely around class interdependence. With 300 base health and the minigun as his primary weapon,
No weapon is good.
he was the most durable and one of the most dangerous sustained damage dealers in the game. However, this minigun required spin-up time before firing. This design choice was critical. It forced intentionality. Revving the weapon meant committing to a position. Once spinning, the Heavy became lethal, but repositioning while revved significantly slowed his movement. This commitment reinforced his identity as a frontline anchor. He excelled at holding choke points, defending objectives, and escorting payload carts. When paired with a medic's Ubercharge, which grants temporary invulnerability, the Heavy transformed into an unstoppable spearhead capable of breaking entrenched defenses. An Ubered Heavy was less a player and more a moving inevitability. Entire pub strategies formed around protecting him long enough to reach that objective. At the time, his weaknesses were pronounced. His large hitbox made him vulnerable to snipers. His slow movement made him susceptible to spies. Explosive classes could pressure him beyond effective minigun range. Heavy wasn't designed to operate completely alone. He was built to embody teamwork itself. And then, beginning in 2008, Valve introduced class updates that added unlockable weapons, expanding each class's strategic options. And for Heavy, these additions refined rather than redefined his role. Natasha applied a slowing effect to enemies on hit, emphasizing his suppressive capabilities. The Brass Beast increased damage output at the cost of even slower movement, further reinforcing this defensive artillery style. The Tomislav offered a faster spin-up and quieter revving, making it more viable in competitive play and rewarding smarter positioning. And perhaps most transformative was a sandwich. This secondary item could restore 300 health when consumed, and could be dropped as a medium health kit for teammates.
Crikey, you call that a sandwich?
Victory!
With the sandwich, Heavy gained sustainability and support potential. He was no longer entirely dependent on a medic for survival between fights. He could heal himself. He could heal others. He could contribute beyond raw damage. In competitive formats like Highlander, where one of each class is used per team, Heavy became a defensive cornerstone. In 6v6 formats, however, his lack of mobility limited his usage, often reserving him for last point defenses where raw durability mattered the most. Across years of updates, Valve preserved Heavy's core identity. They didn't speed him up or fundamentally change his role. Instead, they gave players tools to explore different expressions of the same fantasy. The unstoppable forward presence. Heavy's character depth expands significantly in the official TF2 comics, however. Misha is revealed to have grown up in the Soviet Union alongside his mother and 3 sisters. After their father was sent to a gulag and never returned, Heavy took the responsibility of protecting and providing for his family. Rather than being a reckless mercenary, he works to financially support his mother and his sisters, sending money home from his contracts. This reframes his entire persona. The hulking battlefield presence is not driven by chaos or ego, but by obligation and loyalty. He reads literature, he speaks in blunt, simple phrasing, but he is not unintelligent. In the comics, he demonstrates patience, emotional awareness, and a strong moral center, particularly when it comes to family and trust. Then there's Medic.
Let's go practice medicine.
In the comics, when the Team Fortress Classic Heavy, that's right, he's back, attacks Medic, Misha's calm demeanor collapses instantly. He responds with raw fury, beating his counterpart nearly to death in defense of his doctor. Across the comics, Heavy and Medic are consistently portrayed as deeply bonded partners. Their relationship is left deliberately open to interpretation, but what is never ambiguous is the trust between them. Heavy is protective, and Medic, in his own unsettling way, is fond of him. And whether you see them as close friends or maybe more, you have to admit, they are inseparable. This combination of brutality and tenderness is what makes Heavy compelling. He's not simply muscle, he's loyalty given mass and momentum. But beyond the game itself, Heavy has become a central figure in internet culture. The release of Source Filmmaker allowed fans to create high-quality animations using the Team Fortress 2 assets, and Heavy quickly became a favourite subject. His expressive face, distinctive voice lines, and exaggerated proportions made him ideal for machinima and parody. The meme
Putis or Putus
derived from clipped voice lines spread widely across YouTube and community forums. He appeared in countless fan animations, remixes, songs,
I'm going to Antarctica. Look at me, I'm on the phone.
and surreal edits.
I get one it.
For many, Heavy was not just a class in a game, He was the face of TF2, and by extension, a symbol of a particular era of online creativity. Even people who have never played Team Fortress 2 often recognize this bold Russian man with his minigun.
Jokers are busy swapping the president with everyone from a drag race contestant to the video game character, the Heavy.
And that level of recognition is rare. From Quake Modern Forcer to stylized icon, the Heavy's evolution mirrors the broader evolution of multiplayer design. He began as function. He became character. He began as durability and damage. He became loyalty and heart. In an industry increasingly focused on speed and complexity and competitiveness, Heavy remains gloriously committed to simplicity. He walks forward, revs his gun, and holds his ground. And somehow, that unwavering identity is exactly what makes him timeless. He isn't the fastest class, nor is he the flashiest, but he's unforgettable. And as long as someone, somewhere, is spinning up Sasha before rounding a corner, the heavy weapons guy will continue to endure the tests of time.
Today we have won. There are no more babies to fight. We have fought every baby.